Okay, so going straight into it, we have the intro. Now, fortunately for us, the intro and the chorus are exactly the same guitar parts. So we only really have to learn the one guitar part and then double it when we get to the chorus. So this is the intro. So I want to point out that while the guitar parts are there, they're very low in the mix. So there is a few guitar parts that I'm going to show where I'm not 100% sure of the picking pattern. So I'm just doing what feels right. So if there is any part in this tutorial where you're like, I'm not sure of that pattern, feel free to change it, do whatever feels right, because the guitar part, like I said, is very, very low in the mix. So you can go ahead and just sort of do your own little work there. But this will definitely help you get the groundwork for the whole song. All right, so starting off on the A. We're on an open A, nothing fancy, just picking strings 5, 4, 3, and 2, or A, D, G, and B. And I'm using my thumb to pick the lowest note, so the A string. And then these 3 fingers are gonna pick the D, the G, and the B. And I'm just gonna pick them all at the same time. And there's my rhythm as well. Now that rhythm stays the same as we go over to the next chord, which is a C sharp over an A flat. Now all we've done here is we've taken a C sharp minor chord, and instead of playing the C sharp on the A string, we're going to flip it over to string 6, so the low E string. So now instead of being a C sharp on the root, it's actually now an A flat, which means that this chord here is a little triad, still playing that C sharp minor triad, but now with the A flat in the bass. So same rhythm as well. So I'm doing the same thing with my hand, but now my thumb's picking string 6 instead of string 5. And now the fun part, which really cool little guitar part. We're going to an F sharp minor chord, but what we're going to do is we're going to hammer on the triad of that minor chord. So if you look at just how you would play a normal F sharp minor chord, it's 9, 11, 11, 10, and obviously you're barring, so you're playing on the high E string, you're still playing the 9 as well. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to strum the chord initially, just as the 9th fret, but you want to hammer on that triad. So 11, 11, and 10. So you want to hammer these 3 notes. So if you can't do that, you want to try and basically just essentially work on doing that movement as best you can. And when you do hammer on, you want to get a very hard hit on the strings. Don't lift off at all. Once you've done that hammer on, if you lift off at all, the notes die immediately. So you're going to do the hammer on, you're going to do an up strum to hit the chord again. But this time you're actually playing that F sharp minor as a whole. Then you lift off, do a strum, push back down, do another strum. And there you go. Moving down to the 2nd fret. What we're actually going to do here is we're going to play a D chord. Now, I want to talk about how I'm voicing this chord. It's just a D power chord, or a D major bar chord, sorry, not power chord. A D major bar chord in the A position. Now, usually we would actually fret the chord like this using the ring finger. That's usually the sort of like a very conventional way of playing this chord. I'm actually going to use my pinky finger. I'll show you why. We're doing a walk up to this chord here. So we're going to go 2nd fret, 4th fret, and then we're going to play that D major. So we're going to go like that. But the reason why I'm using my pinky finger is because the next bit, we're going to do a walk down with the index finger or the pointer finger, and still play this triad here, which is the 7th fret on the D, the G, and the B. So that doesn't move. You obviously go ahead and use your ring finger. If if you find that comfortable, if you can do that movement, I just find it a little bit of an uncomfortable stretch when I can just use my pinky finger. Makes playing just even easier. So again, we're going 2, 4, D major, and picking pattern is 5, 4, 2, 3, or A, D, B, G. Thumb, index, ring, middle would be what I do. Same pattern, and again we're going to go to a B minor. So just a heads up, B minor is 2, 4, 4, 3. And then an A, which is the first chord we played. And again, that whole pattern is exactly the same. So what's cool about that whole passage is the bass note is leading you up and then back down. So we're going 2, 4, 5 for the D, going to that D flat in the bass, back down to the 4, down to the 2 for the B minor, then to the open, which leads you really nicely to an E chord, which is where the verse, or the intro guitar part ends. What we do is we play this. Real simple. We're going to play strings 3 and 6 at the same time. String 4, 1, 2, 3. So, and then play the same pattern again, exactly the same, but on the second time round, every other time basically, what we're going to do is we're going to hammer the pinky finger. Keep these fingers exactly the same. We're just going to hammer down to a sus4. So keep the pinky finger there and hammer it down to the 2nd fret on the G string. So when you do the initial hit at the beginning of the pattern, you're hitting that 2nd fret on the G string. Repeat, open, just a normal E. And that is the last part of your intro. So moving over to the verse, this is what the verse to me sounds like. So what we've got there is a lot of similarity, to be fair. So there's quite a few chords that do repeat from the previous sequence. We're going to an A chord, and the pattern that we're going to do with picking is pretty much the same on all of the chords as well, which is nice, so we can just copy and paste. So if we go over to our A chord and take a look at the pattern, we've got so strings 5, 4, 2, 3, 4, or if you'd prefer it as the notes, we've got A, D, B, G, D, those strings. And all I'm actually doing is using my thumb, my index or my pointer finger, then the ring, the middle, and the index again. You're coming over here, you're going to do a little slide. Now, I really like this chord. I think it's a really interesting chord to have, going from like a low chord to up here. Unpredictable. It's an unpredictable chord. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit an F sharp dominant 7. Again, right hand pattern, same thing. Keep that whole thing going, man. You're going to be playing 9, 8, 9, and then 7 on the B string. So 9 on the A, 8 on the D, 9 on the G, and then 7 on the B. And again, really copy the way the finger position I'm using for this chord. It's kind of a tricky chord to play in any other finger position. So what you want to try and do is you're going from the A. You want to try and shape this next chord out as you slide into it. And I'm just sliding from like either 6 or 7, so 2 frets or 3 frets below where your target note is. then you're coming down to your B minor. You repeat it 4 times. 3 times round, same pattern. 4th time round, a little bit different. You'll notice that I'm doing something with my left hand. All I'm doing is I'm hammering on the 2nd and the 4th repetition. I'm hammering on the root note, so. You don't have to do this. This is just something I'm doing because I think it sounds quite cool. And then the 4th time round, we only do the first 3 picks of that pattern. So 5, 4, and 2. And then we do that walk up where we went to the 4th fret. Over to our D chord like we did in the intro. So same pattern. So 2, 4, 5. Same pattern, obviously, with your picking as well that we've sort of got used to in our verse so far. 2 times round, nothing fancy on that D chord. 5, 7, 7, 7. Move down 1 fret with the root note. Same pattern with the right hand. So everything is the same with the right hand so far, apart from now we're going to go back to the E, which we did in the intro, at the end of the intro. And that pattern that we did for the E in the intro, we're going to do again for the verse, right? So now we're going to go. Okay, so that pattern does change, but it's exactly the same as it was in the intro. So this leads us into the chorus, because basically all you do is play that round 2 times for your verse, and then you go into your chorus. Thankfully for us, the chorus guitar part is exactly the same as the intro. Exactly the same as the intro. So let's check out the pattern so far. Intro, verse, chorus. Now that goes round, I think off the top of my head, I think that chorus is 3 times round that progression. Then what happens is we go into verse 2. Now, verse 2, I want to just quickly mention very, very briefly. Yes, there's a key change. Now, I remember learning songs that had chords in them, like chord songs I would learn, and I would hate them. I used to hate learning songs with chords, and I used to always want to play like solos and stuff like that. That's still kind of what I want to do. But when I would learn these sort of songs and I would reach a key change, I would be like, oh man, and I would give up learning the song because I'd think, oh, this sounds, all the patterns that I've learned so far, I cannot copy and paste because it sounds like there's such a difference. I've got to relearn loads of new stuff. Don't be put off, young warrior, because there's a really easy way of thinking about this. Firstly, I'm going to show you the chords anyway. Let me just go through the chords for the second verse with the key change. And then I'm going to show you a way of looking at this that should hopefully make things like so much easier for you when it comes to like remembering and sort of like visualizing the pattern of the second verse. But let's check it out. We're going to start on a C chord. Now, we're going to try and pretty much keep the pattern, picking pattern, exactly the same. So we're starting off on C. And then we're going to, so C, by the way, is just 3, 5, 5, 5. The same chord shape that we did in the verse, we're doing the same one again. We're going to go to an A dominant 7, so 12, 11, 12, and then 10. Moving over to here, which is it was a D minor. Hit the 7th fret. By the way, the pattern is exactly the same as the first verse. The pattern is exactly the same. You'll notice that I'm not doing that hammer-on thing because now it's a different chord. That hammer-on doesn't really work. So I'm not doing the hammer-on, but the pattern, again, with the right hand. 2, 3, 4. Just those first 3 picks. Hit the 7th fret, go to an F major. Then obviously moving down with just the root. So F major, 8 and 10. Move down with the root. And then you come down to a G. Now this is the one bit that sort of really does sort of look a lot different, and we're gonna have to make some adjustments. We're actually gonna do a Hendrix voicing for this. Now, this has come from, if you're not too familiar with this chord shape, it comes from this bar chord, which is your standard G major bar chord. But what we're gonna do is, instead of playing like a standard G major, we're actually gonna use the thumb to play string 6 and string 6 only on the 3rd fret. And then we're doing this triad, which is the main bulk of that major chord. So we've got our, if you know any of your theory, root, major 3rd, and 5th, which is the 5th fret on the D string, the 4th fret on the G string, and then the pointer finger plays the 3rd fret on the B string. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because I still want to do the sus4. I still want to do that movement. And you can do that if you do your standard bar chord. But what happens is, because when you play this position, all your fingers are taken up by the bar chord, which means that when you lift off the pinky finger and hammer it down to your sus4, now you're going to get a ringing of a 7, of the 7th note of that key. And now that is not the sound we want. We kind of want more of like a bog standard, just sort of major sound. Like that. So it's better if you do this voicing for this position here. So the strings and the pattern does change a little bit from when we did it with the E. So it's string 6 and 3 again, the same. And you're gonna go those 2 notes, string D, so the 4th string, 2, 3, 4, B, G, D. Okay. Then you hammer that pinky finger down onto the G string, which is the 5th fret on the G string. So you repeat the second time round, obviously you got the pinky finger coming down, which is your sus4. Repeat, off, back down. So you're going from a G to a G sus4. And there you go. There's the second verse. Now, I mentioned there's a really easy way of visualizing this, because if you get a little bit flustered, you know, what's going to happen? We do a key change. What's all this about? The easiest way to visualize this, real simple, is it's 3 frets higher from verse 1. So everything you learn in verse 1 is technically, shape-wise, apart from that G, everything is pretty much the same as verse 1 as verse 2. It's just moved up by 3 frets. Now, let me give you a quick demonstration. You can skip this bit if you already know what I'm talking about. But if you want if you want to be clued in on what's going on, real easy way of visualizing this. So A is the chord that we start on in verse number 1. Now, obviously remember, or just picture this, usually that open string is actually what would be like fret 0, right? So 0, 2, 2, 2. So I'm just gonna imagine that there's another fret there with my index finger, my pointer finger, and I'm gonna play this chord as if there is another fret there. So I'm doing 0, 2, 2, 2. Now that's the first chord of verse 1. In verse 2, we start on 3, 5, 5. So what we've done is we've gone 1, 2, 3. Chord number 2 in the verse, in verse 1, was starting on the 9th fret. It was 9, 8, 9, and then 7. If we move it to where it is in the second verse, it's 12, 11, 12, 10. You can see we've gone 1, 2, 3 frets higher. I can go on, but everything that you do in the first verse, you do the same thing, but you just do it 3 frets higher in the second verse. Obviously, the only exception we have here is the E chord, which still does move 3 frets higher, because E would be 0, 1, 2, 3, and we're hitting a G. But the pattern is the only thing that's a little bit different. So everything's moved up. So hopefully that helps visualize the sequence of the guitar parts or of the song for you a little bit there. Okay, so where are we in the song is a good question. We're about to go into chorus number 2. And chorus number 2, you'll be grateful to hear, is just a copy and paste of chorus number 1, which is great. Nothing new to learn for that bit there. So far we have intro, verse 1, chorus. We've just done verse 2, which has the key change. And then we're now going into the chorus, which is the same as chorus number 1. So nothing is sort of jumping out of the woodwork until now. We have one new guitar part, and this is the outro. And we've got 2 guitar parts here, 2 guitar parts to learn. It's sort of going to be one riff that we're going to learn now, and it goes around 2 times. So it's a little copy and paste job here. What we've got going on is we're going to go to a D chord. I'll play it first so you get the gist of it. So that's the outro, that's the whole of the outro, and the timestamp for that is 2 minutes, 23 seconds all the way to the end, which is like 3:06 or whatever. We're actually starting on a D chord, and it's actually gonna be a D power chord, so no need to do like string 1 or anything, we don't need it. We're gonna do the 4th string open, the D string open, the G on the 2nd fret, and the B string on the 3rd fret. Now, what I'm doing with my right hand is I'm sort of doing a little rake through the strings, and you don't have to do this, you can just pick them all 3 at the same time, like that. I just add a little bit more texture to that strum. And I pick with the thumb strings 4 and 3, and then I use my middle finger to pull up on string number 2. So I'm picking that, and then I'm gonna pick the B string again, string number 2 again, 2 more times. And then actually 3 more times, because I go down 1 fret to the 2nd fret. And then again to the open string on the B. And I'm doing all of that with the middle finger, just sort of pulling into the fist. Go to an E major chord. Top note is you're gonna want it to be the G string. So you're gonna, again, I'm doing the rake. So thumb, string 6, 5, 4, middle finger pulls up on the 3rd string. Hitting that sus4 with the pinky finger. And then string 2 open. What happens next is we move into an A, just your normal A major bar chord, not your normal A major chord, sorry. And then we pick string 2, just letting all those strings ring, so. Now here's the chord that comes kind of like left field, comes out of nowhere. It's a C sharp dominant 7, but it's kind of interesting because we get a little bit of dissonance when we play that note, that one. Slight bit of dissonance. So what's going on is we're playing the C sharp dominant 7 shape, which is 4 on the A string, 3 on the D string, 4 on the G string, and 2 on the B string. And then that's string 1, 2, 3. So, and because we get that little bit of dissonance, it's because we're playing a major 3rd in the chord. That note's kind of like the happy note in relation to our root note. And then that E, which is the 1st string open, is our minor 3rd. So it's interesting, we've got a minor, and we've got a major 3rd in the same chord. That's why we get that slight sound of just not being super comfortable for a split second. And we repeat that sequence. Then what happens, so we've done that chord progression round 2 times. We're gonna start it to do the 3rd time round. Everything's normal up to here. Now we're gonna go to our A, and then what I do is I play an A flat in the bass. So I'm gonna go an A, then I'm gonna pick just string 6 on the 4th fret, and then I'm kind of doing like an F sharp minor 7 type of chord, which is 2, 2, 2, and that's again, that's the low E, the D, and the G string, and then the E, and I'm just kind of going 6, 5, and then open strings, and the 3rd string, and the 4th string, just sort of all the top strings, and then that takes me to my D, and then D minor, right? So that is like a walk down, and then we hit a D major, and then we transition to a D minor, which is, I'm kind of doing like a little rake again through those 4 strings. So 5, 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, and then just sort of like a claw picking all of them. 5, 1, 2, 3. I kind of want that A note there. I kind of want that ring in. Yeah, it sounds real nice. Then we go and just hit an A chord. Now let's take a look at that very last time round again. So here we go. actually on the D major there, I'm kind of picking through that. So I'm just going 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. That's still the same, and then landed on the A. Now there's all of the guitar parts for Please, Please, Please. Hopefully you're able to play that, get that down, make it sound great. Remember, you can slow songs down on YouTube. I would highly suggest that if you're having trouble going from chords to chord, you're struggling with your chord transitions, slow it down and then slowly speed it up. That's going to really help you with your chord transitions, with your overall playing. But yeah, hopefully you got something from this video. I know it was a little bit of a long-winded one, but I kind of wanted to make sure I explained certain things so I reach a little bit more of an audience with this video. Hopefully I did. If you did enjoy this video and you enjoyed the tutorial, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps the channel. If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and subscribe if you like guitar-related content. I post a lot of guitar-related content. It's basically all I post. So yeah, check out my channel, hit that like button. That would be greatly appreciated. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.